Today we got the Liquidlogic Torque. Gonna do a little review and ratings on this boat. I think I've owned it for like 2-3 months now or something like that. Probably have about 10 runs in it on different stuff. It's one of those boats where if you didn't think you wanted it and you try it, you're gonna buy one. Price-wise, $13.99. That's a really good price nowadays for a new boat. Some boats are getting real expensive. Some companies upwards of $1,900, $2,000, $2,100 after tax. Width on this thing is 26.5 inches wide, which isn't too bad. It's kind of standard nowadays for a kayak, I'd say. They're kind of getting wider. Like, things change. They go back to narrow and then they're wide again. And nowadays they're kind of in that like 26 range for the most part. Weight-wise, I don't know. They don't give a weight. I want to say somewhere around 40 to 45 pounds. It doesn't feel like too heavy or anything like that. Length is 8 foot, which is pretty cool length on like a full slice boat. Full slice, like I said. It's more rewarding when you do things. Weight range, they have it 140 to 260, and I kind of agree with this. This is a very wide range weight boat. And when you're at the lower range, yeah, it's gonna be harder to throw around, but in bigger holes you can throw it around. And the heavier range is gonna be easier to throw around, less river running, lighter, better river running, harder to throw around. But it really does fit that whole range, I would have to say. I agree 100% with that. Ideal range, if I had to pick one, would be like 160 to 210. That's just my ideal range. And then this cockpit with skirt size, you can do it extra large on there. Some general information on this boat. This is a planing hull design. It's kind of funny. Liquidlogic, back before they did the RMX release, everything was displacement. Now everything is planing. So this is a nice smooth planing hull here. Great for surfing, 360 spins, whatever you want to do. Tracks well in the water, downriver. Pretty much what a planing hull does. This is a very beginner friendly boat. I think it's easy to roll. It's not too tippy on the sides. It's pretty stable because of the width. And the tail is really, the stern is not really that grabby either. So I think this is a very friendly boat. I would rate this to be very beginner friendly all the way up to expert, which is also a good void to fill. Like I said, this thing nails like kind of the beginner to expert level, and then also the weight range. So it's a cool design that it fits in both of those kind of that way. And the advantage over this around a full slice like a Nova or something like that, it really has a lot of pop in it. So if you want to do some other different moves like lunar orbits, loops, that kind of thing, they're a lot easier to do in this boat, especially if you're lighter. You can get that pop out of the bow. It's got a lot more volume here right in the bow. It's also longer, like I said, goes down river a lot better, and it's more fulfilling. You can see these rails, they go all the way up almost to the tip of the boat here. It does follow it all the way down to the stern as well. So these rails are super nice and engaging. Flat spins really good, does 360s. Handle-wise, has 3 different handles on it. So it's got the top one here, one at the cockpit rim and one on the stern. That's pretty adequate for this type of boat. Usually they have 2 to 4 depending on it. This one kind of has 3. Drain plugs in a weird spot. Yeah, I'll do the Wade Harrison drain plug review. It's right there in the back, which, I don't know, it's pretty far up if you're gonna drain your boat anyway. I really don't think any type of full slice boat needs a drain plug. Just get out and empty it on your shoulder. You know, I don't know, empty it with a sponge. I hardly ever use a drain plug. It does have security bolts on the handle, which are nice. It's standard for all Liquidlogic. Some general outfitting, I will say though. Not a huge fan. The outfitting is not bad, let me say that. For safety, I have some safety concerns with it. These new Gorilla thigh braces, they come in the Torque and all new Liquidlogic boats. They are nice. I will say for the Torque, I would need them. In some smaller boats, I wouldn't. The standard ones are pretty good overall, but this is nice because it's kind of wide. I do have, for me, I have the extra seat hip shim things in here. And then I scooted the seat forward just a tad. So 1, it helps downriver running, and 2, it helps me initiate cartwheels a little better. I don't have any trouble getting the stern down either way. I'd rather be a little forward to help me initiate on cartwheels. The bow has quite a bit of volume, as you can see. So it is a little hard to get down, especially in flat water. I can get maybe 2 ends in flat water. Getting that 3rd end is very hard to get down though for flat water moves, but I don't really care all that much about flat water. Another thing about the outfitting, so when you get this boat, Liquidlogic doesn't put in, they don't put foam blocks on the side of the seat here. So I kind of got a couple grievances with their outfitting. One, you got to do that. It'd be something simple from the factory they can do. If you don't, the seat tends to shift on you, especially when you're starting to cartwheel and do tricks in it. So when you get this boat, you're going to want to take pieces of foam like this big, put them on both sides, and then glue them in. That way the seat won't shift on you. It's actually a big deal. When that seat starts shifting, you really lose a lot of boat control. The other thing is, this is kind of flimsy, this thing they give you here. It just flops right out. You got to make sure you don't lose that when you're getting out of the boat. And then the main thing though on this boat is this center wall piece of foam here. It's really loose and it will come out. You need to take that out and pretty much glue it down to the top, bottom, and the pillar here. And that's kind of a big deal because that does fall out and this thing squishes or you get pinned or something, you could get stuck in the boat. It could break your legs. I will say they did put an actual bulkhead in, which is nice, instead of just foam. So that's an additional feature. I think they did that at the last minute after the prototype. Again, it's you know, it's some pricing here too. Like, so it's a $1,400 boat. So you're not getting some of the goodies that you might if you're paid $2,000 for a boat. So there's some give and take. So I can't complain too much for the price. I mean, it does its job. I would just say when you get this boat, do a more secure job on that foam wall in the front. Maybe extend it out a little bit too, and put the foam on the sides. You'll be good to go after that. Otherwise, the outfit is comfortable, just like any other Liquidlogic boat. It can give you a swamp butt after a while, since it does keep water in there. One more thing I like to do is they don't provide you with any kind of cord back here, so I'd take a little piece of paracord and tie it around so I can, okay, let's get to some ratings here. Creaking, I want to give this thing like a 6.5 to 7. It's actually pretty good. I've taken it on like John's, our local run. The bow doesn't really submerge a lot. It has a decent amount of rocker on it. The likelihood of the bow getting pinned is not that high. Now, would I still have taken on some more gnarly creeks? Probably not, just because there's no point. Like, I'm not going to sit there and cartwheel on a class 5+ creek. But anyway, for general creaking, it does its job. It can boof, it can go over things. The bow is not going to get caught on too much stuff. It's also got a decent amount of stern rocker, again, to get over holes. And if you're on a ledge drop, you can kind of skip over and get over holes, especially if you lean the boat a little bit. So it's pretty good overall for creaking. I was surprised how well it did. Like I said, John's at high water. It's like, you know, decent little class 4, and it had no issues. It's also pretty light to carry. So if you had a portage on a creek or something like that, it's pretty easy. It fits on your shoulder nice, light to carry. It doesn't have a grab space in there. You kind of have to grab the metal, because the pillar might shift out even if you glue it. So style on this boat, I'm gonna give it like an 8.5. I think it looks pretty good. There's no unpleasant line, nice flow to it, good shape overall. I like the name and design. Some people call it the Torkin. I love these little car designs they've been doing with the stickers, pretty cool. But it's a decent looking boat. I prefer the struck blue over the others. Everybody's got that Venom, which I love the Venom color, but I feel like this is a little bit different. For downriver, I think this is gonna be a great like upper galley boat to take when you're not wanting a full slice that you get kind of wrapped up in all the time. High water new, down south, let's see, like a Chioa, no problem on a Chioa. I'd definitely take it down the Chioa. Pretty much anything. I mean, downriver is going to be a pretty good boat. I'm going to give it like an 8.5. I think it has really good downriver capability. Like I said, it has pretty good amount of rocker, go over holes. And if you do get stuck in a hole, you can play your way out, especially with this bow having some pop in it. Cartwheel out, whatever you ever want to do. I think it's going to be a good downriver boat for you. And I've had no issues downriver. Like I said, I think it's going to be awesome. Wave wheel. You can do kick flips, that kind of thing, if you're good at that. So yeah, downriver, I think it's going to be an awesome boat. When galley season comes up, I think you'll see a lot of these on the upper and lower galley. It's spacious and roomy, and it's comfortable overall for a long day, especially for feet size, bigger feet size over a full slice. I'd definitely rather be in this on a longer trip than a full slice. So there you go, downriver, 8.0, 8.5, somewhere around there. But it's a pretty good downriver boat for having slicey ends. It's also very stable, very, very stable. A lot of people are comparing this to the Ozone, and not to put the Ozone down, but the Ozone was very narrow. This is a lot wider, so downriver is just way more stable. You're not tippy, and you're gonna find it, like I said, pretty stable overall, and it's a beginner-friendly boat overall too. This is kind of the area where it's gonna get a little zonked here. If you ever watch Rady's Rides, that's where I got that from, the zonk. He always calls the cars a zonk. But anyway, the outfitting and safety is where I have my biggest concern, mostly due to safety. And that's really this bow wall here. I don't like that. I wish they would have reinforced that somehow, or taking the pillar and gone a little bit farther, at least to have that foam sit in something. Again, a lot of people may be taking this on creeks, so I just think that was that would have been not a whole lot of extra cost to do that. And Liquidlogic just needs to add these foam things in the side just from the factory. And then a very minimal cost thing that will save the buyer some hassle of having to do it yourself. But I will say again, it's a comfortable outfitting. It does its job. I actually don't mind the back band. It's pretty stiff and doesn't go under your butt like a lot of other back bands that are loose. Kind of knocked down for the safety component, but outfitting itself is not bad. I actually don't mind it. It keeps you in tight. It does its job. So playability, I'm gonna give this thing like a 8.5. It can't be, I would give like a Nova or something like a 10. You could pretty much do whatever you want. It's just so easy to throw around. This is gonna be a lot harder to throw around for people my size. If you're probably 180, you probably won't have much trouble at all. I will say during the end of the day, if I'm tired, I really struggle getting the bow down on this boat. But it's very fulfilling. Like I can cartwheel a Nova, no problem. I'm not comparing boats here, but it's hard not to in a way. But this is, the bow has a lot more volume, but it's more fulfilling when you get down. It's harder, you gotta use better technique. So it really teaches you to use your body control better than if you're in a full slice, you can kind of just throw it around, no big deal. You really have to be dialed into technique for this kind of boat, which I like every now and then to kind of keep me on my toes. But it stern squirts really easy. I wouldn't say it pirouettes well on the stern, but it can stall it, and stern squirts really easy. Splats, you can do it from a flat position, just get it straight up, no problem. Blasting does that really well. And the cartwheels just look so much better in a longboat and feel so much cooler. So when you do get it connected, the 1 to 2 ends are easy. Getting that third end is a little hard even in a hole, but once you kind of get that third end connected, the boat will really flow and go. I think the most I've gotten so far is like 10 ends in it, which is pretty good for my size. Also, it loops well, can do lunar orbits well. You can do some phonics monkeys. Again, if you're a skilled paddler, you can pretty much do anything in this boat. All right, lastly, would I recommend this boat? I have to say yes. I would buy this boat if you have the money. It really kind of fits this weird niche of like going down. It reminds me of like a full slice Cadillac, if that makes sense. You're not uncomfortable. You can still do all the moves you want to do, and they might be a little harder, but you can be in this thing all day. Feet don't get sore. I'm not sore like in my hips or anything like that. So it's really a nice boat to have. Like if I'm gonna go out and just go to a hole, I might take Nova or something like that. But if I'm on a long day trip, I want this boat. 10 out of 10 times I'm taking this on a longer trip, like 8 to 10 miles, upper galley, for example, lower galley, all that. I'm taking this boat, hands down. I really didn't think I was gonna buy one, but once I tried Wade's, I was like, I love this boat. It's very fulfilling to do tricks in. It's comfortable, like I said, on long trips. And yeah, it just gives you kind of a more sense like, man, I did a trick in this boat rather than a full slice. Pretty much anybody can do a trick in. I won't refer to this as a 3/4 slice. It's also another boat that I can take down some stouter runs if there are some spots I want to cartwheel or do play in. And I can also take this creeking where I would not take a full slice creeking probably, but I feel comfortable taking this creeking, you know, up until like 4+. Probably not going to take it on like a 5 unless I'm really feeling it that day, but definitely 4+, I would take it creeking. And on any stouter kind of downriver runs too. This boat just kind of fills that void where the ozone didn't quite fill. Sorry I had to say that. It's just too narrow and didn't run rivers very well. This is kind of that boat that still plays really well and also runs rivers really well and can kind of hold up to the stouter runs. So that's why you'd want to buy this boat. And it's a very good deal. Like I said, $1,400 for a boat now that you could pretty much do everything in. That's a hard bargain to beat there. So good job Liquidlogic on another design. I have to say Liquidlogic, every design they put out, RMX, this boat, Hot Whip, y'all have nailed it recently. I have to say, I give credit to Shane and his crew for really putting out some good designs lately. So check one out if you haven't, demo. And again, it does abide by the weight range in my opinion. So the 140 to 260 or whatever it was, ideal, me being 160 to 210. Check it out. And yeah, if you got any questions, comment down below and I'll check you on the next one. See ya.